Coming up on today's Locked On Senators, we made it. It's a Senators game day. We'll have a full preview of today's matchup against the Detroit Red Wings in Sweden.
And we've got a boots-on-the-ground report from our Sens Central citizen. Today, it's Matt from the Senstennial Podcast.
He's in Stockholm. He was at practice yesterday. We'll have a full report and more. This is the Locked On Senators Podcast. It's your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators Podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators Podcast.
Welcome inside episode 918 of the Locked On Senators Podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. You can follow the show on social media at Sens Central on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. The show is free and available on all podcast platforms, including on YouTube, where a like, comment, and subscription go a long way. You can also find in the description of today's show, yes, I'm talking to you Sens fans who are in Sweden, a link to a drop box. I want post-game reaction from anyone and everyone who is in the Avicii Arena. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Hey, you want to go to the game? If you're in Sweden without tickets, you've got some iron steel there. But if you do want to get over to Game Time, the Game Time app, it's the official ticketing partner of Locked On. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Today is Thursday, November 16th, and Pilsy, man, it feels good to be previewing a Senators hockey game.
Oh my God, it feels so good. Ross, they could be playing this game on a different planet and I would be stoked because I just want some Sens hockey to watch. And I'm glad the time change works out in our favor. It's going to be an early afternoon, 2 o'clock matchup. So let's get going into this game day preview. Woo!
Oh, man. So we're going to get to our conversation with Matt here coming up, 18 minutes. And it's so cool how the Senators went above and beyond to make sure the fans that took the trip over to Stockholm are being appreciated, having one-on-one time with DJ Smith, Daniel Alfredsson, Steve Staios, and more. So we'll save that conversation. But just an overall thought, Pilsy, about the Senators' schedule right now as we're recording this before the games on Wednesday night. But the games in hand here are starting to add up for other teams. So does that just not add to the importance of this divisional game today against the Detroit Red Wings?
Big time, Ross. And I don't know. We haven't discussed this, but I almost think, and maybe we're throwing these around too loosely, but this might be a must-win game here. I mean, you got to win your home games, even though this isn't the Ottawa Senators' home. You got to beat the divisional rivals, and it would be nice to give those Sens fans who spent a lot of time and money to go over to Stockholm and watch the boys in Sweden. It'd be nice to give them something to celebrate, especially right off the bat. I
couldn't agree more. And great news, we're expecting Artem Zub to be in the lineup. Zub, as people are loving on YouTube, I've got this banner here that just says Zub about 100 times. And
we worked hard on that one.
We certainly did. It took the brain power of both of us, but we made it, fella. We are here. It's a Senators game day. Artem Zub back. That was a scary collision at the end of that game with Vladimir Tarasenko. I mean, it wasn't the scariest of collisions on the ice, but obviously the reaction of Artem Zub kind of going right down the tunnel, just coming back from dizziness and a shot to the ear from Alex Ovechkin. So great to see that Artem Zub settling back into his pair with Jake Sanderson. So after our conversation with Matt, we'll get to our full game day preview. But why not get to a boots on the ground report with Matt from the Senstennial Podcast? All right, we're now very pleased to welcome another Sens Central citizen and a podcast community member of the Ottawa Senators. It's Matt from the Senstennial Podcast joining us live from Stockholm, Sweden on a Senators game day. Matt's going to be heading to the game today against the Detroit Red Wings. Matt, what's the excitement level out of 10 right now? It's got to be through the roof.
Oh, man. Yeah. A bunch of people here, like even in the lobby, it's funny. I've seen Sens fans going up to the concierge and they're like, hey, listen, if you see any Leafs fans come in here, you tell them to turn around and go back to Canada.
Nice.
So, vibes are high. People are excited. Obviously, there's some nervousness because people are like, is Ottawa going to have a good couple games, or how is it going to unfold here? But Brady Tkachuk and Thomas Chabot, they were really excited to see us when we went to the meet and greet. So that was awesome. And I think everyone here is pretty fired up. There's a lot of energy.
Now, obviously, we want to hear all about your trip so far, but I want to take it back all the way to the start of it, Matt. Were you one of those people that, like, as soon as the Sweden trip was announced, you started booking time off work, you're looking into it, or like, what was your thought process for this whole thing? Or was it like, hey, maybe I'll go to this. Oh, I kind of want to go to this. No, I'm going for sure. Like, how did all of that play out for you?
Oh, it was tough because I was like, man, do I bite the bullet on this? Because, it's not a cheap trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw the email come in, brought it up with the girlfriend, and she was like, oh, well, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, you should really go on this.
Yeah.
And she was like, also like, be supportive of you and do what you got to do, and thought it would be sick. So I hummed and hawed, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then originally she actually wasn't going to come on the trip. And then a few days later, she's like, okay, this trip looks really cool. I want to come with you. So we both got tickets.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I'm assuming this is your first time going to Sweden. And you mentioned you were in Helsinki as well. First time?
Yeah. First time for both.
Yeah. What's the overall impression?
Really nice, actually. Helsinki reminded me a lot of Ottawa, of all places.
Okay.
It was just like a very walkable city, but it was almost like if you took the kind of peacefulness of like nighttime Ottawa and kind of, I don't want to say low energy, that sounds bad, but like, low activity, I would say. And you combine it with kind of that old town feel of Montreal. Yeah. That's kind of what it was like. So it was really nice just walking around, like whether it was early morning, late at night, you just felt comfortable. So Helsinki was like just really cool. Good vibes.
And we met you at the Tampa game this year earlier, and you were wearing a very fresh, I think I actually pulled the final tag off of your Joonas Korpisalo jersey. Yeah. Were you rocking that around Finland?
You know what? I didn't rock it around Finland, but my one tour coordinator who's from Finland, he said that when Korpisalo signed with Ottawa, I don't know, I guess he said he looked familiar, and then he was looking at some photos, and I guess he realized he went to high school with Korpisalo's partner. So that was pretty funny. I was like, man, that's a really small world situation when it comes to Finland. So, yeah.
You might be one of the first to have a Joonas Korpisalo jersey. 5-year deal, though. I like that. What was behind the decision? Who's him?
Yeah, so back in, 2011, the Sens traded for Andy. So when they got Craig Anderson, I liked goalies, like, even when I was a kid. The Devils, for a very short period of time, were my favorite team because I liked Martin Brodeur. Okay. So when they got Craig Anderson and he had that shutout against the Leafs, and everyone was like, oh, man, this guy, automatic, like, God-tier Senator, shutting out the Leafs. So I just, on a whim, I was like, I'll get a Craig Anderson jersey. And, hey, he had a hell of a career with Ottawa. So the whole point of going with Korpisalo was, I had better vibes around him than Matt Murray. Like when Matt Murray signed the 4-year deal, I didn't feel great about it. When Korpisalo signed his 5-year deal in free agency, I was like, I could see this guy sticking around for the full 5 years. I'm going to take the plunge. I need a new away jersey. It'll look kind of cool to have an away Korpisalo, so did it.
Hope you're enjoying our chat with Matt. We'll get right back to it, but first, a word from our friends with Mary J's.
Yes, today's episode is sponsored by our friends over at Mary J's. And if you guys don't know by now, Mary J's is a locally owned cannabis dispensary in the Ottawa area. Started off with 3 best friends making a life-changing decision. They were sleeping on air mattresses on the floor of the sales room just to make ends meet, but they knew their dream could come true. And with hard work and dedication, they now have 4 stores in Ottawa. The Ottawa locations, you can find them at Riverside South, Orleans, Greeley, and Russell. Lots of different spots to check out Mary J's. And when you're there, you'll notice they offer the best and newest products in the market with many new additions added to the menu every single week. They've got everything you need, whether you're a rookie or a grizzled vet. Mary J's offers competitive pricing. In fact, they will price match any store in Ottawa. That means you get a guaranteed best price around at a Mary J's location. Mary J's also offers the best customer service by having the friendliest budtenders who are always ready to assist. One of the owners, Dashi, absolute beauty. He's a diehard Sens fan. So go to one of the 4 locations in Ottawa, say what up to Dashi, pick his brain about the Ottawa Senators, and he can tell you all about the latest, greatest products at Mary J's.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. You can get last-minute tickets at the lowest prices. Buying tickets to your favorite sporting events should not be stressful. It should be fun. Game Time's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets, their best price guaranteed, you can stop stressing and start getting hyped for all the fun you have. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals. The Game Time guarantee as well means that you'll get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect before you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are set directly to your phone, so you'll never have to dig through your emails. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. All right, now back to our conversation with Matt.
Let's get back to your trip in Sweden, because it's finally an Ottawa Senators game day. I know you mentioned lots of Sens fans around, rumblings of Leafs fans around, but have you been seeing a lot of Red Wings fans, Minnesota Wild fans? Like, what's the overall fan percentage that you're noticing here? I think it's probably a lot of Sens fans. Maybe that's just my bias and what I see on my social media, obviously, but it seems like they really showed out.
Honestly, yeah. The hotel that we're staying at, because it was organized for the group trip, there's, I would say, 100+ Sens fans here.
Nice.
And I'm in like another WhatsApp group with some other Sens fans that are in Stockholm, and there's a bunch that have flown in from all across Europe who are here. Other ones who have flown in from Ottawa but just got in like today or yesterday. So a lot more were on their way. Now I have seen a lot of like Detroit and Minnesota fans, but everywhere when I'm walking around Stockholm, there's always Sens fans, whether they're from the trip or just rocking some Sens gear. It's noticeable how many Sens fans are in town. And even going to a couple of restaurants, I heard one guy today, one of the cashiers at a restaurant, and he spoke to a few Sens fans over there. He's like, I keep seeing like that logo, like what's up with that? What's going on? And so that was pretty cool to see. Like even people around the city are like, okay, something's up. What's going on? Who are these people?
I love it. I mean, the Sens 3-0-1 lifetime in Stockholm. They've got to be making some more fans. You've been to the arena yet? The Avicii Arena? What's the vibe like there? It looks super cool from the outside.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. They were still setting up, of course, like the merch booths and all that stuff when I was there. But you know, hot water. Breaking news: Avicii Arena has hot water. Not only does it have hot water, it has like a little flip thing that you can change from cold to hot.
Stop it.
So it's like next level new technology out here in Sweden. But no, it's really nice. Although Brady Tkachuk kind of took a bit of a spill at practice and may have dropped a couple expletives about the ice quality, but I'm sure that he got used to it over the course of practice, and when it comes game time, he'll be good to go. But the arena itself is really nice. All the seats are red, so you walk in there and it's ready for Sens fan base to take it over. That's all I gotta say.
Heck yeah! So when you say that the email came out, I believe that you're a season ticket holder. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
With the Sens. So is this trip was all planned through the Ottawa Senators? Is that what led to the fact that yesterday you got to go and see the Senators at practice? If you're not following Matt and the Senstennial Podcast on social media, you can go do that and see all the great photos. You got photos with Alfie, Steve Staios, Brady Tkachuk, Dean and Gord. I mean, they're right up there as legends with everyone else. We saw Ian Mendez is there. So, I mean, was that all organized through the team, and how did that all come together?
So I actually didn't know that any of that was happening. From the email, all that we got was that the Sens had organized the trip, or were passing coordination of the trip to Victory Travel. That's the group that did it. And they organized Detroit's trip and Minnesota's trip as well, which is also sometimes why we ran into some of the Detroit and Minnesota fans. But Toronto apparently didn't get back to them in time to decide whether they
Toronto
wanted
separate also. You don't want those fans all traveling together.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened with them. I also heard insider details here. I heard that they actually didn't have a meet and greet for their fans. They were the only team, apparently.
Wow.
I heard that Detroit got Zetterberg and Lidstrom to come in and got a coach pep talk, kind of like, we got with DJ Smith and Steve Staios. I guess they got that with their coach and a couple of former alumni as well. But so yeah, it was kind of interesting to hear that. But yeah, I got that email and all it said was Sens experience and then open practice. So I was like, okay, maybe we're having just like a Sens themed party or something. Like, I don't know what to expect. And it wasn't until we got to the arena today and they had some of like Ottawa's senior behind the scenes staff, like VP of ticketing and all that. They were there. They were shaking our hands, welcoming us and thanking us for flying out there. And anyway, it was really neat to be able to get down the arena and meet all the staff that I guess are behind the scenes and doing a lot of work for the Sens too.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. These are the kinds of things that like you want the team to be doing to kind of keep the vibes high and keep the community involved even all the way over in Sweden. Now, you got to watch a practice, Matt, and we got to see from your Twitter video of Thomas Chabot out there on the ice. How did he look? That was surprising news to me. I didn't think he was going to be skating and on the ice here, but with a guy with a hand injury from your videos, it looked like he was ripping the puck pretty good.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised, guys. This guy does not look like he's like 2+ weeks away. Okay. Like, I swear I would not be shocked if he's in the lineup Saturday. And I know that's very bold, but he was out there. He was stick handling. He was passing. He yelled to the trainer at one point because after the practice, it was obviously just him, Josh Norris, I believe Matthew Joseph, and maybe another guy. But they were all just kind of practicing shots and this, that. And he's like, I want to practice some sauces. And so he's practicing some backhand, forehand, saucer passes. He even actually the trainer body checked him at one point, and Chabot just bounced off the boards, and he was good, kept going. Okay. So he looks good, ripping pucks. I was there with the infamous Dr. Bob, and Dr. Bob was like, "Hey, once you're 2 weeks into a hand fracture, there's not much more healing that can be done. It's kind of like set at that point." And he's like, if, I was a team doctor, I'd probably just pop something in there to freeze it and then just go for it. So, yeah, we were both thinking that the way he looked and the amount of work that they were putting him through and drills that, I don't know. I think that it's possible. I won't guarantee you, but it's possible that he gets in the lineup Saturday.
Hillsy might not be a doctor, but Bob is. So Dr. Bob is giving us the insider info there. Now, Matt, I'm going to need a locked on player from you for tomorrow's game, or today's game rather. Senators, Red Wings. Which Sens player are you hoping has a big day?
Guys, you know who I got to choose. You know who I've been repping. I got to go with Korpisalo, man. The Finn may be in not so home territory, but you know what? He's going to show up big and show Sweden that Finns are great and they can rock the boat here in Sweden and get it done. So I'm going to say that the good old Finn has a good showing for the Sens.
Okay.
Yeah, and at least he was in the starter's end for practice, right? So it's looking like he's going to get the start. And he did mention that he has a lot of family and friends coming over. So I like that, Matt.
Yeah. So I was going to say that somebody today, DJ Smith, asked if any Sens fans had any questions. Oh, sorry, guys. And anyway, somebody threw it out there and said, "Who's starting in net?" DJ wouldn't answer. He just said, "Go ahead." Like, next question. So classic DJ. But yeah, I think we're gonna see Korpisalo starting tonight, and maybe see Forsberg take game 2. But I mean, it depends on how well Korpisalo plays, right?
So you're of the mind, and we had our Sens Central citizen Colin on yesterday who said, "Hey, it's a business trip. Like we might have to go with Korpisalo with both games." I'm a sweetheart. I need to get all the connections, all the families there to see Anton Forsberg. I'd get him a game, but that's just out of the kindness of my soul. You're taking the cutthroat approach that if Korpisalo plays well on Thursday, you would let Anton Forsberg go home for a week and he doesn't even get to play a game?
No, I'm with you guys. I would definitely let Forsberg take game 2. You know, like, if Korpisalo gets, I won't say the S word, but if he does really well, you know, then I could see it. And I think the team really is treating these games seriously. Like, yeah, they want to win for sure. And Staios did say that at the practice. He said, you know, this is a business trip. Like, yeah, it's a personal trip, but we're here to win. And they were obviously hyped that the fans were there. And I think they're really looking forward to having that fan support behind them. But yeah, I would go Korpisalo Forsberg for sure.
Yeah, I just think it's what you need. Like, Forsberg needs some sort of morale victory. And like the Minnesota Wild, that's a team that's struggling right now. Their goalie's not doing so great either. So
Who's
think
their goalie?
Well, goalies, Gustafsson and Fleury not having good seasons. So I think this could be the type of boost, the confidence boost that Forsberg needs. So I like that for sure, Matt. What's the local time start for these games?
So 8:00 against Detroit, and then it's an early 5 start against the Minnesota Wild.
Interesting. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Have you been following along with the Sens sleeping schedules? Have you got yourself on a tight sleep regimen, or how are we doing there? No naps, or what's going on?
Oh, man. Actually, before you guys wanted to chat with me, I was like, I might take a nap. So, but it's a little weird. So Finland is actually 7 hours ahead in Helsinki than it is in Ottawa. And so it was going 7 hours ahead, and then going to Sweden, it's actually 1 hour behind Helsinki. So then I was going back an hour, which you don't think makes much of a difference. And like, it's pretty okay, but you do notice like, oh, I'm getting tired now. And it's weird. It's a different feeling going through like one time zone and then back a time zone. And
we always say 1 hour is the toughest time zone, eh, Pilsy?
Yeah, that's what Ross and I deal with. That you'd be surprised at how often it creates issues.
Yeah, it really does. So, Matt, the Senstennial Podcast, give us the lowdown. When did you start that thing?
Oh God. So actually, it was a really bad time to start it. I decided to start it. So I wrote for the Hockey Writers for like 6 months. Decided I wanted to do my own gig, and podcasts were kind of picking up in popularity. So it was back in like 2020, February. And we know what happened in March 2020. So immediately had to pivot, because we recorded in person at my house, actually, was how it started for the first 2 or 3 episodes. And then we're like, okay, well, now we have to figure out how to do this online. And, you know, now I'm much more savvy with organizing all that stuff. But at the time, I was a noob. So it was tricky, but we got it done. And, you know, I guess the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, we're looking forward to collabing with you guys more as we move forward here. Final question for me, Matt. Score prediction for today's game.
Oh, you're doing this to me. All right. I don't know. I think the boys are going to be fired up.
Okay.
I asked Brady today. I said, Brady, have you told Detroit or asked Detroit who wants it? And he laughed and he said, not yet. That's tomorrow. So I guess that's today.
Okay.
So I think Brady's going to be fired up. The boys are going to be fired up. The boys are heat, as they say. Yep. So I'm going big here. I'm going to say like 5-2. I'm feeling good. 5-2.
I like that. The reversal of their first match. Let's go.
And let's get more than one power play goal this time. I don't mean to get, but getting one power play goal in 8 out of the last 9 games. It's just like explode for 3. Why not? Just like Detroit's power play did. That's what Detroit's power play did to Ottawa last time they met. So I think it is time for a reversal. Final question from me, Matt. Will you be booing Alex DeBrincat when he touches the puck? We hear it from Sens fans overseas.
It is a home game for Sens, so Sens fans got to boo like they're at home.
He cannot get off the hook.
That's a good question. At the game in Ottawa where they played Detroit, I wasn't booing, but I was like laughing because the boos were raining down when they welcomed back DeBrincat. So yeah, I probably won't boo, but I will definitely not be mad at those who do.
Love it. Everyone can follow Matt for more on social media. Senstennial Matt on Twitter, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Over 100 episodes. You guys doing great work, and we love having you as a part of the community here that we're in. And yeah, well, let's check back in. We're gonna get videos from you after both the games. I want boots on the ground reports. We'll get those up on our channel, and yeah, we'll talk when you get back from the trip. Enjoy it. Stay safe. Enjoy the games, and thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you having me on.
Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Matt. Really looking forward to his post-game reaction videos. We'll get to that, and we'll get to a full game day preview next. You're listening to Locked On Senators.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Podcast Network and North America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, customers in the U.S. can get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins for new customers in the U.S. So if you're thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the time to do it. I love the FanDuel app. There's so many different ways you can get in on the action. You got spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. And hey, while you're at FanDuel, why not mix in a parlay? I've been known to have a couple parlays in my day. Pilsey's parlay of the day will be back now that the Senators are back in action. And there's only one place to play Pilsey's parlay of the day. You got to do it on FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get in the action today, guys. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
All right, Pilsy, here we are. It's a game day preview.
Yes.
The Ottawa Senators taking on the Detroit Red Wings. It's the second time these teams are playing this season. The first time, a 5-2 win for Detroit in Ottawa. And I really hope that we get some boo birds for Alex DeBrincat. That's what sports are all about, is emotion. It's creating an environment of havoc for the players on the ice. And even though they are thousands of kilometers away from the CTC, a nice raucous boo for Alex DeBrincat would be very welcome to my ears listening here or watching on TV.
Especially, Ross, if the Swedish people that don't have any skin in the game, like maybe they're not Sens or Red Wings fans, are just like, what the heck? What's all this booing about? And then booing is contagious. They're gonna want to boo along with. So yeah, let's make Alex DeBrincat always feel unsettled when he's at an Ottawa Senators home game, no matter the location.
Right. He won't be back in Ottawa at the end of the year. This is a home game for the Ottawa Senators, which means, and you might think, oh, that means they're wearing their black jerseys. No, it also means, of course, that they get to put their sticks in last on faceoffs. A tiny little advantage there, as well as getting last change. So they'll be able to line match, and the Ottawa Senators will get to their lines. But first, let's get to the Detroit Red Wings lineup, who I would like to refer to as a one-line wonder, because so much of their offense has been coming from that top line of Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond. The second line is JT Compher with Andrew Kopp and I almost said Jaden Perron because we're such Nodak Sens guys. If you were following the draft coverage last year, of course, this is David Perron, he of over 1,000 NHL games. The third line, Joe Veleno, who killed Ottawa in their first meeting this year, with Robbie Fabry and Christian Fischer. The fourth line is Michael Rasmussen, Klim Kostin, and Dylan Sprong. On the back end, it's Jake Wallman and Moritz Seider. It's Ben Sherratt with Jeff Petrie, and it's Shane Gostisbehere with Justin Hall. No Ville Husso. He played against Ottawa in their last head-to-head meeting. His wife just had a baby. Congratulations to them. He did not make the trip to Sweden, so it will be James Reimer getting the start with Alex Lyon backing up. Pilsy, your lookout player and thoughts on this roster.
Well, Ross, you just mentioned my lookout player, and unfortunately, it's James Reimer. And Sens fans know all too well, or should know, or if you don't know, I'm about to inform you, James Reimer is a Sens killer. I'm looking at his hockey reference splits right now, Ross, and the Ottawa Senators are the team he has played the most. In 28 games played in his career, he has a 17-6-3 record, a .926 save percentage, and a 2.51 goals against average. And this year, he's having a solid year also. So, look, Ville Husso, he definitely stole the game for the Red Wings last time they played, but I would have gladly taken Ville Husso again over James Reimer because makes me nervous seeing him in net for the Red Wings up against the Sens here. So I'm going to be looking out for him.
Yeah, I think it's too easy for me to go with Alex DeBrincat, right? Or if I bring a different angle, do you think maybe I could be able to get away with this?
No, we'll allow it, Ross. We'll allow it.
Alex DeBrincat is my lookout player. He went pointless in his first game against Ottawa. It was actually his only pointless game in his first 7 games of the season. And now, why do I say 7 games? Well, because in the last 8 games, Alex DeBrincat has 1 goal, 1 assist, is -4, and still putting the puck on net, has 26 shots on goal. So look for him to be gripping the stick tight. Now, does that mean he's going to put it under the bar? Or, as Sens fans know, is he going to go ping off the post and out? We'll be able to find that out pretty quickly in this game. The Senators obviously gave him a not so warm welcome with Ridley Gregg introducing him to the glass boards where they meet at the Canadian Tire Center. Still rattled that was a penalty, as well as the little back and forth that he and Brady Tkachuk had off of that first whistle, where it took 3.5 or 3 and a cat to bring him down in front of the net there early on in that game. So I'm looking forward to this game in total. Obviously, you look at the way that the offense is coming for the Detroit Red Wings this season. A lot of it is that top line. 17 points in 15 games for Dylan Larkin, 15 points in 15 games, including 10 goals for DeBrincat, and Lucas Raymond has 11 points in 15 games, which is tied with JT Compher, but you look and Compher only has 3 goals in those 15 games. Moritz Seider leads from the back end offensively, as well as just being a great all-around two-way defenseman, 11 points in 15 games. He also will be extra motivated, you think, with his old buddy, his offseason training partner, Tim Stützle, likely being matched up head-to-head throughout the game. Other than that, some guys who I think could be due to come out offensively. David Perron struggling this year, less than 0.5 point per game. He's usually a 50, 55-point guy, so I'd be looking for him. Also, I mean, Joe Veleno with 2 goals last time they played Ottawa, so he's a guy who I'm going to be keeping my eye out as well for the Detroit Red Wings. Any final thoughts on Detroit before we turn our attention to the Ottawa Senators projected lineup into this afternoon's game?
Yeah, this afternoon is a weird one to say. Nope, Ross, let's get away from these guys. Let's get to the Sens.
The Ottawa Senators projected lineup against the Detroit Red Wings. I should say the Red Wings are 8-5-2 on the season. That's good for tied with the Toronto Maple Leafs in 3rd place in the Atlantic Division. Same amount of games played, 18 points for each of those teams. Obviously, Ottawa sits 6 points behind, but with 2 games in hand. So you win this game in regulation, all of a sudden those games in hand are the difference in standings points between the Ottawa Senators and Detroit Red Wings. The group that's looking to get it done, Josh Norris at center between Brady Tkachuk and Vladimir Tarasenko, Tim Stützle between Mathieu Joseph and Claude Giroux, Roby Yarventi between Dominic Kubalik and Drake Batherson. Rourke Chartier is expected to line up at center between Matthew Highmore and Parker Kelly. On the back end, Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub, Jacob Chikrin with Jacob Bernard Docker, and Eric Brandstrom with Travis Hamonic. Joonas Korpisalo was in the starters crease at practice yesterday. This, of course, is a very early drop. The Senators are skating, though, at 4 a.m. Eastern. So like I said, we're recording this Wednesday right before the games because we want you to have the full day here to get ready for up-to-the-minute updates. Head over to Sens Central on Twitter. Pilsy, your locked-on player to watch today.
There we go. My locked-on player today is going to be paddle tournament runner-up, Eric Brandstrom. Boom, the Swede back at home. Look, I know people always get on me for being a Brand stand, but this has not been the start of the season Eric Brandstrom wants. Still without a point here, but when you come off a runner-up to Daniel Alfredsson in any competitive event, you got to be juiced up. You got to be feeling good. Eric Brandstrom's going to have friends and family there. I'm sure he's going to get back to whatever's in the water in Sweden, and he's going to have a good game here. I'm locked on, rather, to Eric Brandstrom. Look out.
His first point of the season could be happening. I'm going to head over to FanDuel and sprinkle on that. I think that's pretty fun. I'm going to be locked on to Josh Norris, okay? Josh Norris, the jury had to be out for a little bit, right? I think that's fair, coming off such a extended time away. Well, he's hit that 10-game plateau now, Pilsy, and he's got 0 points in his last 3 games, averaging almost 19 minutes a game over those 3. I just think it's time for him to be expected to produce offense. Now, something I've noticed recently too, the power play doesn't seem to be running through Josh Norris as much as it has in years past, where they're just teeing him up. As you can see in the photo on YouTube, that flex of the stick, we're not getting as many shots from Josh Norris. So I want him to be confident in his ability to be the trigger man. Both Vladimir Tarasenko and Brady Tkachuk are very underrated playmakers. They can get you the puck in the right circumstance. No hesitation. Pucks on net. I want Josh Norris, and I'm not levy locking anything because he had 0 shots against Vancouver when I hammered that prop. But in each of his last 3 games outside of that 0 shot performance, 2 in each. I need 4 shots or more out of Josh Norris to feel confident in his ability on the offensive side between the 2 most, outside of Timmy, of course, let's say the 2 most talented wingers on this roster. Claude Giroux might have something to say about that, but I think when you look at what Tarasenko can bring on that line, I think that, and his offensive ability this year too, I really want Josh Norris to be the benefactor of that. Josh Norris, my locked on player.
So, Roth, maybe we can spin zone or create a new segment for you. Not Josh Norris Levy lock, but a Levy likely?
A Levy like? I would like it, but I don't know about likely, because that would incorporate that I have any sort of, ability to predict what Josh Norris is going to do. But I would like it. So my Levy like of the day is Josh Norris over 3.5 shots on goal. Hey, that's funny. We weren't able to put up a poll because the game's for tomorrow. We don't want to, get people into their time zone feelings even again. So we picked for the citizens today. Why did we choose Dominik Kubalik? That's interesting.
Kubalik, huh? I wonder. Ross, would you happen to have Kubalik's last, I don't know, just throwing it out there, 8-game sample size of his game logs?
Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes.
Funny you should ask. I certainly do, Pilsy. Dominik Kubalik, especially in his last, I think it's 4 games. In his last 5 games, Dominik Kubalik has 3 goals and an assist. And if we're going to expand that even further back there with his back-to-back goals against Pittsburgh and LA, in Dominik Kubalik's last 6 games, he has 4 goals and 1 assist. This is the offensive player the Senators traded for. Now, is he going to shoot 30% all year? No, he's not. But I do think he's the type of streaky scorer that can ride that type of shooting percentage for an 8, 9, or 10-game sample. So I think Kubalik here, he's got Drake Batherson, who should, by a prototype, should be a very solid playmaker on his line now. He's got an ability here, I think, to create something. And I'm going to be looking for him to have a solid performance against his old team after really doing a whole lot of nothing in the last game. He was out there for cardio, no shots on goal, or sorry, 1 shot on goal in that game, but really didn't do a whole lot. I want him to be an impact player in today's game.
I want him to be a guy that Drake Batherson is looking to set up. Like that. That's why I like that line of Yarvanti, Kubalik, and Batherson. Batherson has the playmaking abilities that he can set a guy like Kubalik, who just gets that puck off his stick in an instant. He can set him up for that nice one-timer or that quick snapshot. So I think that line could have some success, Ross.
I'm so excited. It's time for Senators hockey. Like, feel the buzz. We've got the Sens Central postcast coming up after the game. We're going to go live right after on our YouTube. The Senators have an opportunity, like I said, to not only get out of the basement, but to put the games in hand at the forefront of what's separating them from the real pack of the Maple Leafs, the Lightning, and the Red Wings, who are all kind of clumped together here in the Atlantic Division. Buffalo still, but again, games in hand that you'd even be, in terms of win percentage, higher than them if you get a win today.
And they just lost Tage Thompson for a long time, or at least longer stretch.
Yeah, that's tough news out of Buffalo, and they're below 500 now. So an enormous game for the Ottawa Senators today. We'll see you in the postcast. Pilsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts for me is just a reminder, Ross. I know you said it, and I think we mentioned it with our citizen chat with Matt, but we will be setting up a Dropbox for all Sens fans. Look, there's no parameters to this. Just create a video of you, your pals.
There's parameters. Don't send anything that I don't want to see.
Oh, well, okay. yeah, definitely keep it PG. But what I meant is we don't have a set script for you or anything like that, but send a video of you and other Sens fans at the game, after the win, hopefully. And we're going to put a collaboration of all those videos we get in the Dropbox, and we're going to make some content out of it. So, Ross, tell the people where they can find this Dropbox.
Yeah, it's going to be in the description on our YouTube channel. Also, if you're going to the game and you reach out via DMs, I saw there was someone who said they weren't able to DM us on Twitter, but if you mention us on Twitter even, we'll get that to you. I will get back. I think it was Biff that wrote to us yesterday. Biff the Bear, great handle. So we will make sure to get you this link if you ask for it on Twitter at Sens Central. On YouTube, you can see it in the description, but if you can't find it, let us know in the comments, and we will get you the Dropbox link. You upload your video, say, Sens win 5-2. You're celebrating with Sens fans. Just be as fun as you can make it, and we will be very happy to show off the vibes from Stockholm. It's our way of being there without being there. So we appreciate whether we get 2 videos or 25. We're putting every single one in. I don't care whether the video is 2 minutes or 2 hours. I'm putting it all out there. We're not cutting anything. We want the people to show off Sens, what do you call it? Charisma, just a Senators fan vibe. We want to have, whether they win or lose, we vibe or vent. We'll see you in the postcast. Enjoy the game today. Follow us on Twitter at Sens Central. We'll be tweeting during the game, having some fun. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.